video is going to show you how to create my pineapple stitch beanie hat. It's crocheted from the crown, worked in the round and down to a knitted band look, which does fold back on itself, or you can wear it however you want really. This is the same beanie hat in an Angora yarn, which produces a flatter fabric, however still pretty. But if you want nice pronounced sort of bobbles, then go for an acrylic or sort of wool based yarn. It's a part of a series of 3 videos. So this is my favourite, this is the beanie. I've got another video showing you how to create the gloves. I've got a beret version too. Let's quickly show you that. Got the beret, so that's a 3rd video, and not forgetting that you can basically purchase the written instructions to all of these video guides from my website, thecastingoncouch.com. For this project I'm using Rowan Angora Haze. For similar results, look for a matching ball band tension and needle size. And note that on this project we're deliberately going down to a 3mm crochet hook. Create a magic circle. And create 6 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now into the magic circle, let's just draw that in a tiny bit. Do a single crochet. Note that a single crochet is the same as a double crochet in the UK. And repeat that for another 5 times so that you have a total of 6 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into the ring, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into the ring. And because this is quite fluffy yarn, I'm going to draw the ring in a little as I go along, just in case the fibres catch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, single crochet into the ring. So that's 4 loops that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Into the magic circle with a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And into the ring for our last loop with a single crochet, and drawing in your magic circle as you, well, at the same time really. Go into the first loop here with a slip stitch, and then we'll be complete for the start of our beret. So this is what it looks like. Now for round 1 you're going to need a marker. I tend to use a hair grip, but you by all means use a proper marker. So round 1 we're going to begin, so this would be the repeat. Begin with 3 chains, but always on your initial series of chains. So on this set of 3 chains I'm going to mark it, because at the end of the round it's going to become crucial and apparent why. So 3 chains to start with, and into this space we're going to create a bobble. We're going to use triple or treble crochets, and that means wrapping the yarn around the hook twice, going into that 6 chain space, so pulling that through, and then going through 2 at a time. So that's 3 times initially. Now we need another 4 of these stitches, and this time we're pulling through once, pulling through twice, and leaving the last stitch on the hook. When we have 5 stitches, we're going to pull through all of those stitches. So pull through twice, yarn around the hook twice, into the space, pulling through once, pulling through twice. That's 4 stitches on the hook. Pulling through once, pulling through twice. So that's 2, 4, 5 stitches. That's what we want. Pull through all of the stitches. Secure one more time with a slip stitch. And end this repeat with 3 chains. Go into the same space with a single crochet. And that would complete the repeat, and you need to complete another 5. So let's do our second repeat. 3 chains, create a bobble. Remember pulling through twice, 3 times for the first stitch. Yarn around the hook twice, pull through once, twice for the remaining 4 stitches of the bobble. We have 5 stitches on the hook. Gently pull through, secure with a slip stitch, and 3 chains into the same space with a single crochet. That's the second repeat completed. So we're on the very last bobble. So complete 3 chains and complete your bobble into the last space. And it's very important how we end our last 3 chains of this bobble. We want to enter it into the same space, and then we'll do a slip stitch into the next 3 chain space. So 3 chains, and end the work by going into the same 6 chain space, like so, and then enter the first 3 chain space and do a slip stitch there to finish. And then that will be our first round completed. Now round 2, the repeat begins like this. We're going to do 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now from now on we're always going to mark our first few stitches with a marker, so those first 5 chains must be marked. So after completing the 5 chains, what I want you to do is enter this 3 chain space, which you have to sort of separate the bobble from the 3 chains to find the 3 chain space, but it is there. So go into it with a single crochet. Next, 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and again into the next 3 chain space, single crochet, and repeat that sequence throughout. 5 chains, into the next 3 chain space, which is in between the bobble and the 3 chains, single crochet. Now 3 chains, single crochet into the next 3 chain space, 5 chains, single crochet into the next 3 chain space between the bobble look and the 3 chains. So be aware that you might have to encourage the spaces to open out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the next 3 chain space, 3 chains, single crochet into the next space, 5 chains, into the next 3 chain space, single crochet, 3 chains, into the next space, single crochet. So we're coming to our last bobble here, single crochet into the 3 chain space, 3 chains, and into our marked space we end our last 3 chains by single crocheting into our marked space, and then that will complete round 2. So after completing the next round, which is round 3, we will have increased to a total of 9 bobbles. Now we begin the repeat by creating 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, remove the marker and reposition it, because we always mark our first few chain stitches. It's very important. Right, we go and create 2 bobbles into this next 3 chain space. So yarn around the hook twice, into this 3 chain space, create your bobble. So that's bobble 1 complete there. 3 chains, and very important when you're creating an increase, in between our what will be 2 bobbles, we want to single crochet into the same space so that we can create another bobble by doing 3 chains and then creating our second bobble next to our first one. Oops, do that again. So this is how the increases are formed, basically creating 2 bobbles instead of 1, 2, 4. So draw in your bobble, secure with a slip stitch, and this time we're going to create 3 chains and single crochet into the next 5 chain space. So that's our increase look completed there. We're going to continue the repeat by 3 chains, and then into the next 3 chain space we'll create a single bubble. So into the space, create your bubble, oops. So that's our third bubble. End the repeat with 3 chains and single crochet into the next 5 chain space. So that whole sequence, creating 2, then creating 1 bubble, forms the repeat section, and we want 3 of these in total. It's very important to enter your final single crochet into the space containing the marker. So this is why we mark the work. It's really important to avoid confusion. So that is now round 3 completed, and we've got 9 bubbles. So round 4, begin round 4 by chaining 5, and then mark these first 5 stitches by moving the marker over. So now we're going to single crochet into the next 3 chain space, and as before, some of these spaces are hard to see. You might have to prise apart the 3 chains from the bobble, especially where these increases are. So there's a space, for example. There's 3 chains and a bobble next to it. Further on, the spaces are more defined, but where you have an increase, look out that you go into the correct space. So anyway, right, 5 chains into that 3 chain space with a single crochet. 3 chains into the next 3 chain space with a single crochet. And that is the repeat, so you're going to repeat that sequence throughout. 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 5 over the bobble into the next 3 chain space, single crochet, 3 chains. So we're coming close to the end now. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is our final bobble here. Single crochet into the next 3 chain space. Look out for your space containing the marker. Complete the last 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Single crochet into our space containing the marker. So that completes round 4. Round 5, it's another increase round. So we're going to do 2 bobbles into a space. Now I'm going to show you the first repeat only, and I'll show you a little bit of the last repeat. So the repeat begins like this: 3 chains, reposition your marker, now into the next 3 chain space, which is here, create 2 bobbles, just as described in the last round. Now 3 chains, go into the same space so that you can make your second bobble and form the increase. 1, 2, 3, create bobble into the same space. That's 3. So after completing the second bobble, chain 3, and this time enter the next 5 chain space, look above this bobble here. So that's our increase completed. Now we're going to do 2 main repeats. So we're going to 3 chains, create a bobble into the next 3 chain space, so that's 2, 4, 5, finish our bobble, and 3 chains and go into the next 5 chain space, and repeat that singular bobble again. So that's 3 chains, then into the next 3 chain space, create a second single bobble, and 3 chains and go into the next 5 chain space. Now that sequence that I've shown you, creating the increase by making 2 bobbles from one space and then going on to create 2 single bobbles, that forms the main repeat section, and I need you to repeat that sequence that I've just shown you another 2 times. So join me at the end of the round where we'll join it in properly into our marker. So I'll just show you that step at the end. 2, 4, 5, pull that through, slip stitch, 1, 2, 3 chains, and go into our marked space, and then that's round 5 completed. And if you check your work, it's beginning to look slightly triangulated, which is normal, don't worry about that. And you'll have 12 bobbles. We're now ready to start round 6, and I will show you a couple of the repeats. So as always, we're going to begin by chaining 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, move the marker and place it on these 5 chains. So we have 5 chains, and into the next 3 chain space between the bobble and the 3 chains we single crochet, 3 chains, into the next 3 chain space, single crochet, and that is the repeat. So complete one last repeat, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 chains, single crochet into the next 3 chain space, 3 chains, and end the repeat by going into the marked space to finish with a single crochet, and that completes round 6. So round 7, we've begun with 3 chains, and don't forget to mark them. Then into the next 3 chain space we're going to create our increase, and we will do 2 bobbles into that space. And then chain 3 and go into the same space and single crochet and create your second bobble. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and once you've done that second bobble, we'll chain 3 and go into the next 5 chain space with a single crochet. Now we need to create into each of these 3 chain spaces, there's 1, 2, 3 of them, we're going to do 3 individual bobbles into the next 3 chain spaces. So that's the third bobble completed, 3 chains, and go into the next 5 chain space. Once you've done that, you can repeat that entire sequence another 2 times. Once you've worked all the way around, you will end with 3 chains and you'll go into that marked space with a single crochet. So that would complete round 7. Round 8, carry on in pattern. Now round 9 will be the last increase round, so I've just completed it actually. We begin with 2 bobbles in the first 3 chain space, and then we make 4 individual bobbles and then repeat that whole sequence again. So by the time you've repeated it 3 times, you've got 18 bobbles, and you're ready to move on to the main pattern section. The next 2 rounds form the main repeat. So round 1, begin with 5 chains, reposition your marker and mark the first 5 chains. Now single crochet into the next 3 chain space, chain 3, and single crochet into the next 3 chain space, and repeat that sequence throughout. So I'm showing you the last repeat of round 1. So chain 5 and single crochet into the next 3 chain space. Do your final 3 chains and single crochet into the 3 chain space containing the marker, and that completes round 1. Now for round 2 of the main pattern, begin with 3 chains and reposition your marker so that we know where to finish, and we're now going to create a bobble into the first 3 chain space with a stitch and secure with a slip stitch, and end the first repeat by chaining 3 and single crocheting into the next 5 chain space. So carry on that repeat all the way around, and then we'll show you what happens at the very end. So this is how the repeat ends. I've got 1 bobble to create, look, in the last 3 chain space. So 3 chains, create your bobble into the 3 chain space. Secure with a slip stitch, and then the final 3 chains, they will single crochet into the marked space. So carry on the main pattern until the hat measures 22 centimetres or about 8 3/4 inches from the crown, and then we can pick up stitches for our ribbed band. So transfer the loop from your hook onto your circular needle and go into each bobble repeat and pick up a total of 8 stitches per bobble, giving you a total of 144 stitches. So when I'm picking up stitches, I'm going from the bottom to the top of each chain and pulling through 2, 4, 6, 7. So I've got 8 stitches there for each repeat, which will be correct because this will give me 144 stitches. So once you have all your stitches on your circular needle, get yourself a marker. We're going to mark the starting point of our rounds, and now we're going to do a knit 1, purl 1 rib. So into the stitch, knit 1, yarn to the front and work into the front of the stitch, purl 1, yarn to the back, knit 1, yarn to the front, purl 1, and carry on this knit 1, purl 1 rib. So we're coming to the end of our first knit 1, purl 1 round, and what will happen here is that you will end on a purl 1. Then you can simply transfer your marker over and continue working rounds, beginning with a knit 1, purl 1, and keep going until your ribbed band measures about 3 centimetres, roughly 1.25 inches. So we have our completed beanie here with a little narrow band. Now the pom-pom, I used a template here. It measures 6 centimetres in diameter. That's nearly 2 3/8, and the diameter of the hole is 2 centimetres. That's 3/4 inch. So that will create a really nice sized pom-pom to finish. Now I did want to show you another option. So this band will turn back on itself, and you'll need to work the ribbing about 8 centimetres to get a nice fold back. So that's about 3 1/8 inch. A little tip with regards casting off. My casting off is a bit tight, so I tend to go up half a needle size to the one that I've used for the majority of the work. And the other thing I tend to do is to cast off in pattern. So for example, I'm going to knit 1, slip 1 stitch over the other. My next stitch will be a purl 1, so I purl 1, slip 1 stitch over the other. next stitch, knit one, and continue that throughout. And I find that this gives a more elasticated hem, if you like, less tight. So this completes my beanie tutorial. I do hope that you've enjoyed it.